We believe at the direction of we believe Mr. Williams as well as Mr. Garlington actually stabbed Lucci while in the Fulton County Jail. That stabbing trickled a number of different events. One, we believe, is the killing of two individuals, Mr. Christian McMiller and Darius Ford, and then that killing ultimately led to the killing of Mr. Shamel Drinks. So this picture is not being presented for sympathy, but for the relevance of the relationship between Mr. Donovan Thomas and Mr. Bennett, more than just a business relationship, but an actual friendship. And again, after the murder of Donovan Thomas, Mr. Bennett had continued to be targeted by YSL, Your Honor.
If you're new, make sure y'all hit that notification bell, that like, share, comment, and subscribe. Grab a seat. We finna dig deep.
What's up, YouTube family, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Jay, and man, today we definitely got to break it down. A whole lot to talk about and not a lot of time to do it. So let's get straight to it. Before we jump in, y'all make sure y'all hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe, so you'll make sure you catch this vibe and the drops whenever we drop. Now let's talk about it. This young thug YSL Rico trial. Something just doesn't seem right. Now, it's a lot of players and a lot of pieces that are definitely missing, but ask yourself, with the state trying to introduce Big Nuts' demise at the end of the trial, if the people or the defendants that are across the stand were let go from there, how is the state turning around and tying it back to YSL? Is this possibly deeper than rap? As I said in one of my previous videos, I always believed that this was, the whole nut situation was definitely bigger than YSL. Did YSL know? Okay, well, I'll say they possibly knew. But does it make them responsible? See, it's a big difference. Because, see, it's a lot of players that haven't been talked about. Some have been talked about, but not really broken down and not looking at in depth. Like some of the people that were actually around that night. That's one place you got to look. Another place you got to look is also with the Atlanta Police Department. It's a whole lot of corruption, a whole lot of report stories and things that are just disappeared. So you got to ask yourself, where are the reports? You heard the defense in the actual Rico trial itself asked several times, where are the reports? Where are the reports? Where are the reports? Where's the video? Where are the reports? Ironically, the only thing that they have is everything around, but they have no middle. And it's interesting because if you actually pay attention to how the state is moving with this whole YSL Big Nut situation, yeah, they've shown the fact that Nut was definitely taken out. We can't deny that simple information that Nut was definitely taken out. By who? The big question is by who? Who's responsible? The alleged rap beef that they said between If Gang and YSL, does that make Thug responsible? Oh, better yet, the state's going to use Kenneth Copeland to come in and actually say they did it. Ask yourself this. Kenneth Copeland is, I feel like his word is just as useless as Tick's. For the simple fact, if you look at all of the information and cases that he's been caught up in, and then you go back and he's even missing reports. They're missing reports on him. So it's interesting. I can't see the jury actually going and saying, hey, we believe him. Out of all the other cooperants or people that cooperated with the state, took their pleas, whatever, that have already taken the stand, like DK, AB, Tick, XYZ, all of the YSL associates that have taken the stand or taken their pleas or whatever, it's interesting. Not one of them in any of their testimonies or their pleas actually said YSL was responsible for nothing. So it made me ask myself, is this deeper than rap? Let's dig.
Stop in 1917-30. GB Pontiac exit text.
Yes.
Now publishing states 296 live. The second sheet is this a snippets from different angles of the barbershop and the Texaco footage.
Yes.
Does that keep this continuation in time of publishing?
Yes.
Now this is definitely interesting because as we continue with the actual examination from the detective from that night, it's interesting that they're still playing the same video that we've pretty much seen, that we've been watching, whether it was from the inside of the barbershop or the outside of the barbershop. It's the same video, same concept, same pictures, same demonstration. We've seen it, we get it, we got it. Now, for the state, I can say that this is actually, it's a semi-chess move for the simple fact that they're trying to create this tape and keep this playing the same tape. It doesn't matter how fast you play it, how slow you play it, which part of the tape you play it. They're still trying to create the idea in the jury's mind that YSL or whoever these members are, or associates or partners, friends, whatever you call them, co-conspirators, defendants, victims, whatever reference or verbiage you choose, let them be. But the key thing with the state that they're trying to prove off of this video is that YSL was actually laying on nut prior to nut being actually taken out. However, again, the state keeps coming with these allegations, speculations from the outside, and there's still no middle. Where's Rico? Let's dig.
Teague, 292 Yankee Alpha is video that you retrieved on January 10th of 2015, correct? Or going into January 11th, 2015?
Yeah, like I said, the barbershop's closed, so I had to go.
Understood. Okay, and we've already established, I believe we've established that even though the video says 8 o'clock, as it appears to begin according to the camera, 8 o'clock p.m., that time is off a certain amount.
Yes, it is.
And could you remind me what that?
It's like about 46 minutes fast.
Okay, approximately 46 minutes
Like,
fast.
so just so we're on the same page ahead of where it should be.
Okay. And is it fair to say that all the cameras from this system, from the cameras on that barbershop, are linked in time with each other?
Yes.
So they're all 46 minutes fast?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm noticing that this video begins at 8 o'clock p.m.
Yes.
Did you collect any videotape prior to this video saying 8 o'clock p.m. in real time? It would be 46 minutes before that.
No.
Okay. Were you asked by Detective Thorpe to collect any video that would have been prior to this time from these video cameras?
No.
Okay. If you had been asked to do so, would you have collected those videos?
Yes.
Were those videos available to your
Yes.
knowledge?
What? Oh, we ain't finna scroll by that like we just didn't hit it. Now, I could have sworn I just heard Matt Shaw ask him, would you have got the surveillance if it was available? He said yes. Was the footage available? Yes. I don't know, maybe I'm confused. Did I miss something? If the footage is available, what are we talking about? Where's the footage? Show the footage. Wait a minute. The state left this part out again. Now it's making sense.
They were available.
Okay. Now, this begins at 8 o'clock p.m. according to this camera, I guess 7:14 p.m.
Yes.
Okay, in Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
Now, you don't know Donovan Thomas.
No.
Okay, and you have not identified Donovan Thomas in any videos, correct?
No.
Okay, but you have identified a man in a camouflage jacket, correct?
They pointed out, yeah, he was walking around out there.
Right. And as we look right here, do you see the gentleman with, it appears to be some sort of white headscarf at the bottom of the screen?
Yes.
Is that eventually the same gentleman that is wearing the camouflage?
I believe so. If we could play it.
Mr. Kokomo, could you just play this for maybe a minute or two, just so we could determine that? And if you could, there you go.
They were available.
Now ask yourself, if, let's just say if, right? Not the gang, I'm talking about the word if. If these alleged associates of YSL are here in the store laying on that, I still ask, where's the furtherance of the gang? Where's the furtherance of the Rico? Who says that they were in the store laying on that, being that these people are all in the same area, the groups all hang in certain locations? Let's just say it is them. Let's play devil's advocate real quick before we jump right back in. Let's play devil's advocate and say, this is them. They on camera, they at the store right down the street. This the stuff that you see on First 48, right? Right down the street from before we go and put that work in, right? Was YSL really moving this sloppy? Or is this what happens when individuals move and they're associated with the group? So that movement is their movement. It's deep, but I still, it's like, where's Waldo? Instead of where's Waldo, where is Rico? Let's dig.
Testified last week that as part of this VIC system, there's actually an interactive map, correct?
Yes.
And that is something that's not available to the public, right?
No.
But is it available to law enforcement?
Yes.
And it would have been available in 2015, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that interactive map not only shows you the presence, it shows you where different VIC linked cameras are, correct?
Yes.
And that would include all the private cameras and all the city cameras, correct? Okay. And it shows you which ones are operational and working at that time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. In addition to private cameras and the VIC cameras, we also talked about LPRs, correct?
Yes.
License plate readers,
Yes.
and they have cameras, correct?
Yes, but they don't. Their cameras operate a little differently than pan, tilt, zoom, or video cameras. Their LPRs are actually just has to be once the camera triggers taking pictures to actually capture tags.
Understood. So as I understand what you're saying, they're not necessarily video cameras, they're more snapshots.
Yes.
Okay. But those snapshots are saved in a system, correct?
Yes.
And law enforcement has a map of where all the LPRs are, correct?
Yes.
And law enforcement has a way to access all of the photos taken by LPRs in Atlanta, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Now, one thing that I can say that the state is actually paying attention to is the simple fact that they did identify that there are 2 different vehicles actually involved. Yes, you know the Infiniti that was allegedly rented, blah, blah, blah. But then you got this big old school Bonneville. Now, I don't know too many people sliding in Bonnevilles. Infiniti, possibly. So ask yourself, what was the purpose of the Bonneville? Is it possible that the Bonneville was the lookout car? Because I don't know too many people sliding in Bonneville. Not saying that people won't slide in the Bonneville, but you pick. Would you rather try to get away in the Bonneville or an Infiniti? And a sunroof? Man, stop. There was no shot that came out of a sunroof. That's just internet talk. The shots came from the inside of the car to the outside. Now, who shot and who did it? What car was it? I'm not here for that. As far as I'm concerned, like I seen, like you saying, nobody's been formally charged for any of this. So, if it was concrete, or why is it back in court? Wouldn't it be more damning to the defense if they presented this in front of the jury where somebody was already convicted and charged of this, not acquitted, or the charge was dismissed due to lack of? Let that sink in. Let's dig.
Could you display what's been marked States Exhibit 292 Yankee Alpha Charlie? Thank you, sir. Okay. Pause it. Okay, 80927. You were asked about a gentleman in a red jacket on direct, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were asked about the color of his jacket, correct?
Yes.
Were you asked any other questions about him?
About the lettering they had on the back of the jacket.
Lettering. What about what's in his hand?
Looks to be a long gun.
A what?
A long gun.
When you say long gun, what does that mean?
Rifle.
What kind of rifle? Assault rifle?
I don't like the term assault rifle. Just
I stand objection.
Okay. At 80930, do you see that what you've determined to be a rifle in that gentleman's hands?
Yes.
Okay. Were you asked about that on direct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Basis.
Relevant.
I stand objection.
Do you know who this gentleman is?
No.
Okay.
Objection, Your Honor. Now, wait a minute. Now, I got to salute to YSL Schardt. Now, a lot of people always give Schardt a lot of slack and say he's a public defender, XYZ. Regardless of that, Schardt has a valid point. Where are the reports? Where are the documents? Where are the records? Why is it that certain evidence with this case and certain individuals just keeps disappearing? Ask yourself that. They have all of this camera surveillance around everything. They can see everything. They see what led up to. They see where everybody was chilling at beforehand. But in the series of the events, did the information disappear? It's just something real fishy with this case. But luckily, it's about to get deep. Let's dig.
Investigator, my understanding is your role in this case was to collect footage from 2 specific locations, correct?
Yes.
The barbershop, which we just viewed, and the Texaco at the corner of Northside Drive and McDaniel Street, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I believe you said that this is typically your role in investigations. You are someone within APD and also with the feds. That,
I'm not a Fed.
Okay.
No, I'm not a Fed. Just strictly APD.
with APD, whose role generally is to collect videos, correct?
Yes.
Sometimes Thorpe, correct?
Yes.
And you followed the instructions of Investigator Thorpe, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Let's talk about cameras in Atlanta. I want to clarify some things from last week. Okay. In Atlanta, and I guess any other city or rural area for that matter, businesses may have cameras, correct?
Yes.
Also, individual residences, houses may have cameras if they want.
Yes.
Okay. And those cameras, if they're operational, the recordings are something that you're able to obtain, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and sometimes law enforcement can ask the owner of the camera if they can have the footage from the person's camera, correct?
Yes.
Or the business's camera.
Yes.
And other times, if the owner of the camera is not cooperative, you can use search warrants and different subpoenas to obtain camera footage, correct?
Yes.
Okay. In addition to individuals having cameras, you talked about a VIC camera system.
Yes.
And that's something in Atlanta, correct?
Yes.
And that's been in Atlanta since 2007?
See, that is important because now it's starting to make sense how the state is actually trying to tie this case together. See, it's not about some of the other stuff that they had the witnesses come in who took the pleas, like Bean, Bennett, DK, none of them. This is what the state is actually trying to do. See, what they're trying to do is actually prove a number of murders on YSL and Young Thug. And it's interesting because now it's starting to make sense. A lot of people have been like, where's Miss Love? She's just sitting back. No, she's not sitting back. She's waiting for them to finish laying the foundation of the layers of the cake. And she's going to come through and try to smooth it over with the ice. But see, it's interesting because if you pay attention, the defense is already here. YSL Adams definitely been sitting back there like, shh, because they already know. They know exactly where she's coming from. They know her angle and they know exactly how she's about to move. But this is the crazy thing. Ask yourself this. The situation in the case that they're trying to tie YSL and Young Thug to, saying that Young Thug is the one who's actually responsible. If the defense beats the state, they're proving that YSL and Young Thug had no ties, correlation, or responsibility to the Donovan Thomas or the Big Nut situation itself, is that going to kill the case? Or will it sway the jury? Because you got to ask yourself, their whole foundation is to establish murder on Young Thug and YSL. Look what the prosecutor actually just said, the reason that they're trying to introduce Donovan Nut Thomas Sr. information in with some nuts old information. They're trying to tie it together so they can say all of the series of events that even led up to Lucci being poked or whatever is what caused this Rico to actually happen. But if you can't tie one, does that mean that they can't tie two? And if they can tie two, does that mean that they can tie 3 and 4? Let's dig.
It is the gravestone of Mr. Thomas. So I am objecting to that both under sympathy and the album cover is a gentleman who the state has on the witness list, if they want to call him, but they said that they indicated anyway, he doesn't seem to appear on a witness list that's coming up. So that's why I'm objecting. And the album cover was released. This is my information. I'm not telling you the state may have different thoughts, but I have March 3rd, 2017. So I don't see the relevance / I see a lot of 403 issues I'd like to raise, including sympathy.
Okay. All right. Let me hear from the state. Mr. 327 Yankee.
Yes, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, this picture is a picture of Rayshawn Bennett, and the title of the album is Long Live Nut. What the significance of this album, or this particular picture, not even the album, is to show the continuous relationship between Mr. Bennett and Mr. Donovan Thomas even after death. So what we know, what I believe will come out through testimony with Mr. Donovan Thomas Sr. is that both Mr. Donovan Thomas Jr. and Rayshawn Bennett had a business relationship. Mr. Donovan Thomas Jr. is actually the individual that brought Rayshawn Bennett to TIG Records, and you're going to hear some of that testimony tomorrow. But what this indicates that it was more than just a business relationship. It was a friendship, because even after his death, he decided to name an album after this individual had passed away 2 years prior. Why is that relevant? In the midst of what the state believes was a gang war in 2017, or I'm actually getting ready to get the dates specifically, is that we believe YSL continued to target Mr. Rayshawn Bennett as a result of, or as a part of this gang war. So immediately following the murder of Donovan Thomas, you've heard some testimony that Rayshawn Bennett's mother's home was shot up. Then, as years progressed, YSL continued to antagonize Mr. Bennett. Mr. Williams himself, and this is one of the acts in our indictment, actually made a threat to Mr. Bennett on social media saying, if I didn't like what you did for your mother and your kids, I would have been killed you. Then we have another act in the indictment in which Mr. Diamante Kendrick actually stood on top of Mr. Bennett's car while that car was parked at Lenox Mall. And then lastly, one of the events that we believe led to the death of Shamel Drinks is while Mr. Bennett was incarcerated in the Fulton County Jail, a YSL member, Jaden Myrick, we believe at the direction of we believe Mr. Williams as well as Mr. Garlington, actually stabbed Lucci while in the Fulton County Jail. That stabbing trickled a number of different events. One, we believe, is the killing of 2 individuals, Mr. Christian McMiller and Darius Ford, and then that killing ultimately led to the killing of Mr. Shamel Drinks. So this picture is not being presented for sympathy, but for the relevance of the relationship between Mr. Donovan Thomas and Mr. Bennett, more than just a business relationship, but an actual friendship. And again, after the murder of Donovan Thomas, Mr. Bennett had continued to be targeted by YSL, Your Honor.
They can say, oh, we're not anticipating Lucci testifying, Mr. Bennett testifying. Okay, subpoena him and tell him to come into court. They can do that. Mr. Bennett doesn't get to decide if he's testifying or not. They can call Mr. Bennett to testify. But the idea that we're just going to allow a picture of the deceased son looking sadly down at his father's grave,
So you're saying it may be more prejudicial than probative?
it's substantially more prejudicial.
How about if I order the state to leave everything in there except Lucy, long live Nut, and crop out everything else? Would that work?
Could you just repeat the suggestion?
Crop out the 3 people in the picture and the gravestone.
That I can speak for myself.
right.
That would work for me.
Here's the issue that I find, Ms. Hilton. The issue I find is problematic in this case. You got a child that's in here, and that's going to be more prejudicial than probative. So if you want the album cover in, you can crop out the 3 people and the gravestone.
Exactly. So that's what the state is trying to do. Did you hear the number of bodies that they just tried to tie to Young Thug and YSL, whether they committed them or ordered them? They're saying that Young Thug is responsible? Man. Okay, so now it's starting to make sense. Because at first the Rico just seemed like it was just everywhere. It's still everywhere. In my personal opinion, I feel like it's still just too much evidence. It's too much evidence, too many witnesses, which is not a benefit for the state. Definitely a W for the defense with that. And I definitely want to say this. As I said in the previous thing, Donovan Thomas Sr.'s father's testimony will have no impact on the jury, and that's just my personal opinion, especially the way the judge just made the ruling on what they can and can't have. Did you see the way Ms. Love was just sitting there looking? Because she knows it's shock appeal. If we can take the shock out of the appeal, what do you have? Demonstration. And the judge knows this, and the defense also knows it. But Ms. Love, with her information and her record getting exposed for possible or alleged corruption or ethical violations or breach, but she got to sit tight, because one false move, that could throw the whole case away. And she knows that. And not only is the judge biased and he's actually helping throw in those alley hoops and assists to help the state not throw away this entire case, but ask yourself this. If in front of the jury and in front of the world, Young Thug and YSL is not convicted of the passing of Donovan Thompson, a big nut, ask yourself this. Was there really ever a rap war? Or was it actually deeper than rap? Man, this day 84, the Young Thug YSL Rico trial. Man, y'all jump in the comments, let me know what y'all think. Ms. Love, has she been exposed? We all saw it. The information's been put out, it's all over the internet. Has she been exposed? Is YSL in trouble? Would Donovan Nuts Thomas Sr.'s father come in and actually hurt the case? And yet we already said, Lucci is not testifying. His attorney already said that he's not cooperating. There will be no testimony for Lucci, so you can kill that. But Rich Homie Quan, how impactful can Rich Homie Quan be? This isn't a rap game. This is actually court. How impactful can he be? Would Rich Homie Quan's testimony not be hearsay and bias as well? Man, that it's known that there was a fallout between allegedly Young Thug and YSL. But we also heard Rich Homie say that there was separation between YSL, Young Thug, Rich Homie, as well as Rich Homie and YFN. So ask yourself this. Is it possible that maybe the state got it wrong again? Or did the state take too much evidence to try to convict or win? Man, that's your boy Jay. Until next time, y'all remember to hit that like, share, comment, and subscribe. Get in the comments, let me know your thoughts. Until next time, remember, the life you save might be your own. Until next time, it's your boy Jay. Gone.